And welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast. Shelley, Plumb, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today with conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen and follow and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. I uh, I have a couple of topics to cover with you. I would like to know a little bit to start out with. Which introduction do you start with first?
You mean as far as my titles go?
Yeah.
You know what? That is interesting because, as you know, we have talked about this. Is that I am was formerly a surgeon, so that is a story in itself. And I gradually gravitated towards my passion, and that is media production, video, media, and then business consulting. So I guess we could start with that, the business consulting. I would love to talk about that. That's what I'm passionate about. I love it.
Okay. Yes, I thank you for outlining a little bit there because I it is easier, I guess, to start with, okay, what's happening today and what's going on now. However, I cannot help but be so curious about how your background informs your present. So that's why we want to go back to that when if we have time. So
Okay.
yeah, but we will. I was just making a little joke there. So what then got you into consulting? How do you view yourself in the consulting world?
You know what? It's funny. I transitioned from surgeon, and there was a point in my life where I hit a really deep, dark time in my life, and I realized, you know what? I am happiest when I am building brands and doing different things. And I was a communication major when I was in college, so then I jumped to media production, video production, and learned everything. Have a really creative, amazing team behind me, and my partner and I. Deborah Kerner, we have started a well world franchising business, which is helping business owners really just, flourish and really expand and develop business models that they normally would not be able to. So it's really exciting.
Yes. Now you said something to me when we had been when we were speaking before, that really struck me, and I'll try to rephrase it maybe the way I thought you said it, which was um, so franchising versus business development or growth, right? So I think of as a consultant, man, there's so many different kinds of consultants out there, but that's where I think of growth or development. And then franchising, I think of as a just another option. If you're a business owner, that's something that you could look into in a different form of scaling or a different form. And if you remember, I said, okay, I already know what questions I want to ask you. And this is one of the questions I was wanted to get into right away is isn't it's just that isn't franchising a form of growth? Can't you just be a business and then decide to franchise if you want to, and it's just another form of growth?
It is a form of growth, and there's different. You can actually look at it in two different respects, right? So you could have your own business, which is doing fabulous, and you've started it from the ground up, and you've decided, you know what? I know this would be amazing, throughout the country or even throughout the world, and that's what Deborah and I excel at is taking taking businesses, people with amazing, incredible ideas, and then structuring a roadmap for them to become a franchise. So that is definitely one aspect of what we do. And then we have the flip side of that is we have people who they're out there. They know they want to start a business. They don't want to start from scratch. So they want to franchise. They want to take an existing business and they want to take the roadmap that that business has put forth, for the franchise and really develop a business. And they're not really interested in doing it from scratch. They want a roadmap. They want some guidance. And that's where another thing that Deborah and I excel at is taking that. So you know what? I love franchising, and that is why, is because it has so many options. If you have a business that is doing so well, you know what? There is, methods we can take to make it a franchise. And then on the flip side of that, if you are out there and you're like, you know what? I'm a great entrepreneur. I'm great with people. I know I want to start a business. I don't want to start from scratch. I want some guidance here. Then franchising another business that you're passionate about is really, really great. And, our focus with Well World Franchising is health and wellness and eco-friendly businesses. So our goal is to give back to the world to really make a difference.
So I think it's really hard to get, it seems scary to try to jump into going into a franchise. That's somebody else's model, that's somebody else's structure, that's somebody else's pricing. Are these assumptions that are true all the time? Update, update, update. Now you can get 10 free email issues when you sign up for email at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Discount codes, early access, exclusive content, the magazine, and access to the VIP page. Dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com.
You know what? That is a wonderful question, and we do get that because there is a lot of unknowns, I guess is my point. And you know, the many of the franchises that we represent, the franchisors that we represent, have we vet them for they have done their research, meaning they have done all the research in the arena that they're in, so that they're able to really provide the best pricing. They've already, have successful brands that are actually, successful stores, for example, and they already have a track record. So that takes a lot of the scariness out of it because they're already successful. And so, what Deborah and I do is we walk potential franchisees through that process. And we explore brands with them. We explore what they're doing, what their success rate, where they are in the United States, and really kind of outline what it would look like for them to actually, take on that model and become a franchisee that works with the franchisor. So, and then when we have, vetted the franchisee and then, matched them with the franchisor, we introduce them to it, and then they can talk through it further with the financials and that type of thing. So, you know what? The process, if you're looking at it just from a lay standpoint, it really does. I get what you're saying. It sounds scary, but the process that Deborah and I have put together is very streamlined. It's not high pressure, and we basically explore the options together. So it takes the scariness out of it.
Okay. Now, what about the idea that you're going to walk me through this if I'm interested in exploring looking for a franchise or becoming a franchise. And as a person who is someone of an entrepreneurial spirit, I wonder if you're going to start with me, or are you going to ask me about businesses I've had before? How many steps do I need to have taken on my own as an individual before I can talk to you about looking at franchises?
That is a wonderful question because, people come to us at all different levels and stages. And when there is a certain point that you are ready to become a franchise, and there is a process, and Deborah and I do go through the process with everyone. And just being a successful business is not always enough. You have to have systems in place that you can actually, you can relate to people so that they can follow those systems and be successful. For example, if you I don't know, you have a smoothie business, okay, and you are just doing wonderful, and you work the business, you have maybe two employees, and you're just doing really, really wonderful with your smoothie business. That may not be enough unless you have a process in place. A process that, if you think about it, if you were you have your smoothie business, right, Elizabeth? And you come to Shelley and you say, Shelley, you know what? I want you to replicate this in another state. If you can't walk me through how you do that, the systems, where you purchase from, how you make the smoothies, who you hire, do you have manuals? There's a lot of different things that have to go into place. So it's not just, success in a business, which definitely helps, because that tells us if there is demand and if there is want for your service. But you also have to have that strategy in place before you can franchise. But um, I don't want to discourage people out there from, oh my gosh, I don't have a strategy in place. I know I'm doing really well, but I just don't know if I have that in place. That is no worry because Deborah and I, with our consulting, we actually take people at all stages. Meaning, if you have a successful idea and you're doing well, we can walk you through the steps to become ready to franchise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, that's the part where I would think. I mean, I have had moments in my time in my career where I have felt that I can explain a process to somebody. I've had times in my career where I have been the person to write out a process as even if it's three steps, how does this make sense to somebody else? And I don't know unless I test it and get someone else to try my process and see how that
Exactly.
works for them. That is so that is so maybe not challenging, but you really don't know until you test it is what I would guess.
Mhm.
And what do you know about being able what do you know about being able to go through that testing process to um get to that place where you can hand off a process to another store? Is that Does that take a really long time? Are some people just naturally good at it, or do you actually have a way to teach me how to do that?
We actually at Will World Franchising, we have a process that we go through. And in answer to your question, it varies. It depends on you, your business, what level you're at. Because some people come to us and they have a successful model that they're doing. But like I said before, the strategy is not in place. That takes a little longer because that strategy is extremely, extremely important in success of a franchise. On the other hand, we have some people who have already researched what it takes to be a franchise and they're a little further along. Um, so it can take a little while, but you know what? We are very systematic. We basically have our check boxes. You know what? And here's the roadmap, right? Here is where, most people start. Here is where they need to be. We have our check boxes along the way. We have that roadmap. And you know what is good too, and I know you probably can relate to this, is, we're not high pressure either.
Mm.
I mean, because people sometimes will go through the consulting process and they're like, wow, I didn't know that there was that much involved, maybe I should go a different route. And that's where we excel because we do consult on franchising, but we're also excellent business consultants. So some people are not meant to franchise, and then we can bump them into a different type of business model that is more in line with their lifestyle and all of that. And that's another thing that we're really big on, and you probably can relate to this, is having a successful business is not just the clarity and the strategy, but you have to match your business model with your lifestyle or the lifestyle that you want, right? Because if those are not in alignment, success is either going to be short-lived or it's going to be non-existent. So yeah, we're very big on that. Is really, I mean, in the beginning stages of our consulting, we talk to people about their hopes, their aspirations, their passions, because we want to make sure that that's incorporated into the business model, whether it be franchising or not.
That you almost saw what I was thinking, which was, now how many people come to you and say, "This sounds like fun," and then after a few conversations say, "This is too much."
Yeah, and we do get people like that for sure. But, you know, defining too much
Mm.
is our job, right? Because sometimes too much is I really don't want a franchise now that I know more about it. Or too much might mean, you know what, we need to slow down a little bit. Let's
Mm.
slow down, let's take a couple extra steps, let me think about things, let's research, territories and different things within your field, and take it a little slower. And so we excel at that. And every person that we consult with is unique. And we take different, the roadmap for the most part is the same, but how we get there sometimes is a little different depending on the person, depending on the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like where what you're saying there. It doesn't sound scary to start talking to you about my options. And I wonder, do you have what got you into choosing these types of uh this sector of the market, industry, health and of the industry, health and wellness? Was that a did you start in health and wellness right away, or did you figure out this is the segment that works well for you and your partner? How did you guys nail that down?
That's a wonderful question. And Deborah and I have been friends for many, many years, and we're both in the production world. We both, produce, films and that type of thing, and we're both business consultants as well. Uh, Interestingly, when we first met, we found that we had many, many strengths, many, many interests between the two of us, but our commonality was health, it was wellness, eco-friendly, and most importantly, is giving back to the community. So,
Mm.
over the years, we worked on projects together, and we just finished a film called Under My Implants, which was wonderful. And what we fell into that, and there we did a tremendous amount of research when it came to franchising, because we know, back to what I was saying before, a successful business is a business that you're passionate about, right? So
Mm.
we knew that, with Deborah's over 20 years experience in franchising, my over 20 years experience being a media maven and, graphics and video expert and marketing, that we would be successful combining our two assets, goals that we have. But we decided that our passion, our common passion, was that, health and wellness and giving back to the community and eco-friendly. So looking into and researching, some of the most successful franchises out there are franchises that are in those fields.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
have, reached out to different franchisors, franchisees, and there is a lot of people that are, especially in today's climate, people are looking for things that are going to make them feel amazing. Make them feel
Hmm.
healthy, make them feel beautiful, handsome, make them feel good inside of themselves, their self-esteem. And you think about it, I mean, health, related to what you eat, what you put in your mouth, or moving your body. We have one brand called Conquer Patel, which is, one of the latest crazes, with regards to paddle and, hitting a ball around a court, and it's just amazing. So it really checked all our internal boxes, and we every day love what we do because of that, because we're reaching out. And I learn so much every day too about different franchises and health and wellness, and it's just amazing. So I mean, anybody out there, if you want to feel good about you, you want to feel good about yourself, and you want to help people, health, wellness, eco-friendly, community-based franchises are really a great, great way to go.
Yeah, I never really thought too much about picking a business that would fit my lifestyle. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if I have ever heard anybody say that. I mean, I know that from personal experience. Um, I was interested in the film industry, and in the college years, I learned, oh, that means you might be filming in the middle of the night. That means you might be filming at 5 in the morning. And I decided I need to figure out another way to work in this industry.
I have been there. I have been there. So I totally get what you're saying.
Oh my goodness. And so what so what well, I can't help but ask you. So you got both of you together worked on Under My Implants?
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I have not seen it. It's I'm going to remember that. I wrote it down. That's a good title. That's a
Oh,
good.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was an eye-opening show. Yeah, an eye-opening show. And I'll definitely send you the link if you want to post it, because it's something that we are trying to get out to everyone. It actually outlines the dangers of breast implants, and it follows one woman through the process of explanting or taking her implants out. And we interview women, several women who had implants and developed breast implant illness. And we go through what they went through in their interview. And just a quick note, and this is I personally, when Deborah said, I really want you to be involved. I would love you to film, so I came on filming and doing that type of thing, not really um, knowing a lot about breast implant illness, not being aware of it. And the education I received was just extraordinary. So I'm really excited for people to see it. But it was so eye-opening. I personally, at the time I started filming, had breast implants and was sick, but did not know why. And I had been to so many doctors, everybody, so many tests, they were all negative. I had doctors telling me that I was crazy, that, it's all in my head, that type of thing. And listening to the women, I went home and cried the
Mm.
first time we were filming. And I actually went through the process of having mine taken out, and I almost all of my symptoms went away. And I'm not, it doesn't happen like that for everybody. I understand, but um, there was crazy things happening for me that after I explanted, I felt so much better. And so it really is a passion project for me and for Deborah too. I know it is, because it really has helped a lot of women, I think, and shed light on something that was, not a lot of people talk about, right?
Yeah, that's not so, yeah, it's a private thing. It's not something that people that I have a family member that I think I heard that she might have had some work done, and we're not going to talk about that because that's
Yeah.
not it's a personal and embarrassing or something. I don't know what the stigma is, but yeah, just not you can't if you can't tell anybody that you have breast implants, and you certainly can't feel comfortable talking about when something goes wrong because that was your choice to begin with. So maybe there's some shame there. So that would be the first thing I would worry about when it comes to, someone not feeling well and not being able to explore that.
Right.
You are listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. Expert guests and Elizabeth Walker. Today, my guest is Shelley Plumb. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was, and yeah, and we actually interview holistic physicians. We have a plastic surgeon who only does explants now. He won't even put implants in any longer.
Mhm.
And we're not anti-breast implants because some breast implants are needed for certain situations, but for people who are women who have been sick and not really known why, it and do have implants, it's definitely something to look into. So
You're right. I was thinking about cosmetic, and it's not, and I don't. That's obviously not the case. There's all kinds of reasons to have that procedure done.
right, right, right. So, I mean, that kind of, full circle kind of tells you how dedicated Deborah and I are to the health and wellness field. And especially me being a prior surgeon, it just falls into place for me because I'm able to really understand a lot of the health and wellness and the intricate details that are associated with certain fields. So it really makes us kind of a complex and very well-rounded duo.
Yeah, so I mean, goodness. So what happened? I'll steal a phrase from another podcaster, Jonathan Van Ness says, so you were minding your own business being a surgeon. And then, and then you decided you needed to explore your interest, passion for videography and filmmaking. You were a communication student, and how long were you a surgeon?
You know what? That is a great question. And I started out in college as a communication major, as you said, and I was writing promos for the television station and doing all kind. I loved it, Elizabeth. It was just something that lit my soul on fire in a good way. So I absolutely loved it. But I was young. I was influential, and I had people talking to my ears saying, "Oh, that's not a good field. You'll never make any money, blah blah blah. Your future is bleak, And so I went into medicine because of that, and I don't regret it for a minute. Um, did a surgical residency and all of that, and I'm a foot and ankle surgeon. But there was I don't know, there was always something missing. Have you ever had that in your life? There was just something it missing, and I wasn't 100% happy. And it took a really deep, dark moment in my life where I hit rock bottom, just different divorce, personal things. And I remember I'm holding my baby in my arms and I'm looking down at her and I'm like, you know what? The last time I was truly happy about what I was doing professionally was back when I was a communication major. And I was like, you know what? I stood up, I look in the mirror, and I'm like, we're going to make some changes. And I took a piece of paper and I wrote, on one paper where I was at, what the things that were making me unhappy. On the other paper was what I could do about it. And that's where my business, my media business and production business took root. And little by little, I decreased the doctoring, increased the production. Now have a beautiful team that works with me and have branched out into well world franchising with Deborah. And I have never looked back. I don't regret it for a minute, but all of that, and you probably can relate to that, all of that has made me who I am. Some people
Right.
say, you went through all that training, and I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I'm
Mhm.
still using it. I'm still, bringing my expertise into the health and wellness field and interviewing people and doing different things. And you know what? And back to what we talked about before, I'm matching my passion with what I want to do. So it all fits.
I am so inspired to hear that, and especially because I'm not going to say rare, but I personally am looking out for more and more stories about people, but women uh, who are creative and scientific. And I have a scientist daughter. She's interested in the science world, and she's almost going to college, so we'll see what direction that takes. I have never been a science major of any type, let alone thought about medicine. And I just find it fascinating. You sound like a genius to me. How can you be someone who is in these two worlds of creativity and medical field? I'm sure they overlap. I imagine that you get people who come to Well World franchising and say, okay, you're a surgeon, so you know if this business over here is making false claims or not. And
Yeah.
you get people who are asking your professional advice that maybe don't have anything to do with the franchise, but yes, it does. I want to know from your professional opinion, from your background, if you can assess X, Y, or Z for me. And how does a person who has medical training bring that scientific approach to analyzing something, making a decision? How do you use those skills to make a business decision? I'm sure you can.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? And I have been in the media video world for so long, and the marketing specifically for so long, and for over 20 years. I was a surgeon for 18 years. I retired from that to do what I'm doing now. So I'm not a surgeon right now, but um, to your point, I do take little bits and pieces of what I've learned over time to really accelerate the marketing business that I'm developing, and also, Well World Franchising, bringing everything into that because, you know, and that's what I want to get through to viewers, if I could, is that it is never, never, ever too late to make a change.
Hmm.
Never too late to branch into who you are and what you do and your passion. Because first and foremost is, I always talk about clarity versus strategy. When you're developing your business, whatever, even if it's just an idea, Elizabeth, you know
Mm,
what? The first thing that has to fall into place is clarity. You
mm.
have to be clear on who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you passionate, what makes you want to get up in the morning and turn on that computer and do, just do. um, because if you don't have that clarity, the strategy to help it happen will not fall into place, if that makes sense.
I think so. I think so. You want to ask yourself some questions first, and that can be something of a practice. What's the right question to ask?
Right. Exactly, exactly. So, and you know what? To that point is, right. It seems daunting. It almost seems a little scary to think about, okay, what am I passionate about? What do I want to do with my life? And that's why, and I, over the years, going from, now retired physician, foot and ankle surgeon all the way to what I'm doing now, is I have been blessed with the most amazing consultants for me over the years, and
Mhm.
that have helped me bring clarity and a different viewpoint on where I am and what I need to do. I mean, there's one woman in particular that has followed me through the entire process. She is my business advisor even today, who I get teary-eyed when I think about it because she has helped me clarify in my mind who I am and what I
Mhm.
want to do with my life. So, I if I could impart any advice to anyone is though that business consultant is necessary. It might
Mhm.
be a little bit more money to do it, but at least you'll have that clarity and you'll be ready to develop strategy after that. So, and that viewpoint is something that Deborah and I both agree on, and that's why we have come together and we have developed this consulting system that meets people where they are, meets them where they are. So it's not intimidating. We don't talk over their head. We find out who they are, what they want to do, and then we just explore options together. And it is a enlightening, fun, and rewarding experience for sure.
Well, thank you. I as I mentioned earlier, franchising sounds like something almost scary, right? Like a whole different world. And as I asked before, it is a form of growth, but it's different than say your own growth inside your own organization. And what you said a minute ago, I think about the idea that it's okay to change paths, it's okay to change, to re-examine yourself and what you're interested in. And a franchise sounds like a really good way to jump into that.
It can be for sure. And, depending on, what route you want to do. Are you on one hand that person who is sitting there is like, you know what? I'm great with people. I love health and wellness. I just don't know what type of business. I don't want to start from scratch, but I do want to do a business. Well, you know what? Let's talk franchising because it might be a really good option. We could find some brands that really, light your soul on fire and we could, just talk about it and take steps towards it. On the other hand, you might have a rockin' business that is really doing well, but you don't really know the process, the stepwise approach to becoming a franchise, which, as we talked about, is a process. Um, we can help both types of people, which is, something that we're passionate about. We are in the business of making dreams come true, and there's different ways to do that.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine how many different kinds of folks this could be suitable for. And I bet there are a lot of brands that I come across that I don't realize are franchises.
Hmm. True that.
And so I'm curious because I think of, the brick and mortar ones. Um, so they seem out of reach, like a Chick-fil-A or something. I've heard how hard that is, and obviously the restaurant business is not health not health and wellness in this instance, right? I'm talking about fast food, but that's what I think of first when I think
Yes.
of franchising.
Right.
So it
Right.
seems like mm. So there's probably a lot of products that I might actually use that I don't realize are franchise
You
products.
know what? And to your point, yes, no, there are, and brick and mortar franchises are just one type of franchise because in our portfolio of franchisors that we represent, we have we have businesses that are operated online. They don't even have a brick and mortar. So there is different options with regards to that. So, the overhead is a little bit less and, that type of thing. So I mean, yeah. I mean, for example, we have, a counseling franchisor that we represent, and a lot of their work is done online. And there are other franchises that are like that. But you know what? The key is this: is that I know that even a brick and mortar sometimes can seem like it's very scary, but that is why we have vetted these brands and we know that they have a very uh, um, strategic process to get the franchisee to success. So in the best way that they can. And it takes a lot of the scariness out of it because you think about it. I was just actually doing a social media graphic for our social media yesterday, and the subject of the graphic was, should you franchise or should you start from scratch? And sometimes starting from scratch is very scary because you really don't know which way to go. Sometimes
Mm.
it's nice to have somebody who has already laid out the process, and that's what franchises do.
Yes, 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 yes. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Maybe.
Exactly. Sometimes that wheel
Okay.
is not easy to invent.
Right. That's right. Oh my goodness. So Well World franchising, now I think that's where you want me to find you and I can reach you and your partner. How do I get started with you?
You would actually just reach out to, I think email would be the best thing.
Mm,
Our website, I think I've given you our it's wellworldfranchising.com. And at the top of the website, there is, I think, Deborah and I's email and then our phone number. But if anybody wants to, my email, for example, is Shelley, Shelley, at wellworldfranchising.com. And even if it's just a question, you know what, there is, and that is the other thing is walking franchisees through the process, our portion of that is complimentary. The
mm,
consulting, depending on what stage they're with, sometimes there is charges for that. But, if you're deciding you want to be a franchisee, that process of us walking you through it is complimentary and handing you off to the franchisor when you're ready. So,
mm.
it makes it a little less scary.
Yes, I didn't think, yeah, that's good. That's very good to know. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there is business consulting that we do have to charge for, but if you are, oh my gosh, I'm really excited I'm on Deborah and Shelley's website, and I'm really interested in this franchise, and I might want to be a franchisee, walking you through the steps and talking to you about it is there's no charge for that.
Shelley at
Yes,
wellworldfranchising.com.
you got it.
Okay. Well, yes, so you actually want people to contact you and ask you questions and send you questions and start that complimentary conversation. That's fantastic. I sometimes that's exactly what I look for, trying to find people to ask questions. Do you have a do you have a consultation time available? And you open the doors for folks who are ready to start a process if you're available. Kind of
Right,
an open
right.
door policy.
And you know what? We pride ourselves in being, it's Deborah and I. You will talk to either one of us. And we pride ourselves in being almost a boutique type of franchise consultant service. So it takes some of the intimidation away because we are real people. And we have walked the walk. We both have businesses. We know what it's like. We know the franchising business. So there is no pressure at all. So I think that I know from my standpoint, when I was first starting out in business, when I was in college, that was one of the scariest things for me is talking to people because I didn't want to appear like I didn't know what I was talking about or anything like that. And there is no silly questions. So we encourage everyone out there to reach out. If you have a question or you're thinking about a business or you want a franchise or you want to know what options are available, just shoot us an email or yeah, or give us a call. We'd be happy to jump on a call and discuss it. No pressure.
And phone calls. Very good. Okay. So Shelley, I think I have to let you go. I would love to talk with you some more. I actually would certainly recommend folks like me just ask you exploration questions. I'm not even sure what to ask yet. What questions do I ask, Shelley? That's what I would write you. That gets me pointed and started in the right direction. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show. And I would like to learn some more about who's in your circle and what are some up and coming brands to look out for. So I would want to check your page too, right? I know
Uh-huh.
that your social media pages are fun to watch. I've started watching some of your videos, and yes, I would think you hired somebody.
Yep, that is all Deborah and I. And we put our heart and our soul into it, and that it with working with us, that's what you'll get. Nothing less than that actually, because our we don't succeed if you don't succeed, and that is I don't know. In business, you don't always get that, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we want to see people, like I said, I it might sound a cliche, but we want to see people's dreams come true. And with this model that we have in this, consulting business, that's what we're doing.
Yes, I Well World Franchising, Shelley Shelley at wellworldfranchising.com.
You got it. You got it. Thank you so much for having me. You really are a breath of fresh air, and I'm sure your viewers think that every day when they get on and listen to your podcast. Thank you.
Oh, sweet. That's so generous of you. Thank you, Shelley. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk
You too.
soon.
Take care.
Take care. You've been listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, producer and host. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great day, superstar.